So, this is a video that I've kind of thought about doing for a while now, and this is just watching me fill my pill pods. If you're watching me on Instagram, you might have noticed Thursday night that I'd mentioned how I'm on so many medications that are controlled substances. In fact, the pills aren't even all of them. I'm on also several. So let's see. This is eye drops for allergies. I'm allergic to both varieties of dust mite, all local grasses, all local tree pollens, ragweed, dust, ragweed, pollens. Yeah, those are the environmental ones. I'm actually not allergic to animals. Like, we did a full panel with the little pin test on your back. And where did it go? Crap. Oh, right here. So, clobetasol, that's for the psoriasis on my scalp. I've also got a fluocinolone, brand name is Lytix, that I put on bare skin, so like under, so not up, the areas that don't have hair on top, or at least, not the hair on my scalp. I get patches on my nose, in my ears, beside my ears, on my hands, on my elbows, in addition to my scalp, so then there's my HRT, that's in a gel, and so this is a big bag, and I keep it by the coffee table, just because, well, this is where I end up taking most of my meals, so it's where I end up taking most of my pills, and I've got to refill this. Oh yeah, and then there's the ones that I take. Oh, hey, there's my song lyrics. Then there's the ones that I take, just as needed. This is a muscle relaxer. So this is for pain, and this is actually that I'm not taking that anymore. And this is a pain reliever. This is let's see. I went off the opioids. I hate opioids. This is a pseudo opioid. I think that's how that one's classified. This is a gabapentin. I hear people say that, oh, it's some really hardcore stuff, but I'm on, like, a really small dose because, I get serious dry mouth from it, and then what happens is, well, basically, like, dry mouth never went away, so this is, like, the lowest dose. And this is one of those, where it's, like, effective without, terrible side effects that I can't bear anymore. This is one of those ones, and it is for nerve pain. I've got carpal tunnel syndrome. I've also got the spinal curvature down my back. Yeah, I do need to refill this soon. How many days is left of this? So I take this pretty much with meals. This is one that I'm not the only person who says this. Is I always feel like it's not doing me any good, or that it is barely ever effective until I stop taking it for whatever reason. And this is for my cold sores. And this one I take with dinner. And I'm only doing 6 days because you know, that's just how I do it. I do it 6 days at a time, and then like the one that I do like the night before. So this is the omeprazole. This is for gastric esophageal reflux disorder. Basically, I've got a deformity in my esophagus, so, you know, oh god, you know, they make an over-counter version that's marketed as Prilosec OTC, and I hate those goddamn ads with Larry the Cable Guy, who's just like, oh, look at me, I'm a fat bastard, and I'm gonna eat all I want, because I take this. And I'm like, no, some of us, like, you know, it's not, like, oh, God, I don't even, like, like, some of us have, like, an actual, like, physical problem wrong with us. So, I've got a deformity in my esophagus. The valve in your esophagus is supposed to close when you lay down, you know, so that, like, stuff doesn't come back up, and mine doesn't always close like it's supposed to, so that just basically reduces stomach acid so that, you know, I can sleep without waking up choking on my own vomit. Not vomit, bile. This is an herbal supplement from Whole Foods, hair, skin, nail support. I take this with lunch or just after lunch. And the active part of this is biotin methyl sulfonylethamine, carrot root, gotu kola extract, dandelion, horsetail, green tea, and blueberry, bilberry extract blend. Supports healthy growth of hair, skin, and nail tissues. So I basically take that because I'm an old bastard. This is another herbal supplement. This is a rhodiola extract. I take this one usually at night when I remember. I don't always remember to take my bedtime medications. It just depends on, you know, how tired I am. Then we've got multivitamin, and I accidentally grabbed the one with iron, so, oh right, that's another one I got refilled today. So because I was on opioids for such a long time, I cannot crap like a normal person my age, so this is a polyethylene glycol powder, and this is, like, basically it's a prescription strength. Let's see, there's an over-the-counter version called Miralax, and so a lot of people recommend that you take a multivitamin with iron, but iron supplements are terrible on my system, and I'm anemic, so that's, you know, that's not good. So I'm going to be really happy when these are emptied out and I can get one without iron, so that, you know, I can you know, like, skip this, you know, for a day or two at a time, and, you know, still know I'm going to crap. Then we've got St. John's wort. Seasonally, I take this, so this is around the season, so this is one of the seasons where I take this once a day with lunch. Oh, I take my multivitamin with breakfast. So, but during winter, I take it with breakfast and with dinner for seasonal depression, which I've always had issues with. So, then this is my Xanax. I do watch The Rewired Soul. He doesn't have the greatest opinion of this, and, you know, that's one of the few videos from him that I've disliked. I take it definitely once a day in the mornings, and then once as needed. So I put it in the, and I've been really stressed out lately, so it's going back in all of them. But, so I put it in the dinner, side on, my pill pods. So yeah, I've got these little pods that I fill up for a day, and I can take the whole pod with me for the rest of my day, and it's a wonderful, beautiful thing. And, you know, I understand with his own history of addiction, you know, he's probably not going to have the greatest opinion of medications, especially the ones that end up very commonly abused, like this one, and like, oh shit. Okay, so this wants me once by mouth, twice a day. So, okay, I gotta put that in this one, because I just got it today. So, it's, oh wait, no. So my psychiatrist, she explained to me how the Adderall works. So, I'm thinking this first week I'm going to try it with breakfast and with lunch. Just because I don't want too much I just want to see how this works out for me. So, yes, I have, like, I'm on so many controlled substances, and so then what happens is, so I'm finally getting, treatment for my ADHD. So, we had, no, I have not done this one. No, I have not done this one yet. So this is, this is the Paxil. This is for anxiety. But yeah, so I basically, like, about 10 years ago, so, my therapist, she had a PhD, but, it wasn't an MD. But she's, I think she's retiring, if not already, then soon. This would be Dr. Salmons, and she is, she's really well known for, her work with trans people. I take this one with dinner. So, she's really well known for her work with trans people. She's been instrumental in, getting stuff, rewritten more positively in the, DSM, 4.5 and 5. And, so, she was, like, the first to agree with me that I seem to have, ADHD, that I ping all of the bells. But that was 10 years ago, and I wasn't seeing a proper psychiatrist at the time, and, you know, it was just like, okay, well, this is just something I've been living with for so long, and let's see, we got tryptophan, this is to help me sleep, and this is actually, like, some really potent shit. But, so, I'm 37 now, and I am just now, so this is for my allergies, I'm just now getting treatment for my, for my ADHD. And basically, like, so it's now considered a spectrum disorder, and, you know, of neurodivergence. So basically, you know, there are people, like, all along, you know, this line of, you know, relative functionality when compared to, you know, neurotypical persons, and I'm a bit more on the inattentive end. I definitely ping all of the inattentive bells, and, you know, almost all of the hyperactive bells, on that. But see, when I was a little kid in the 80s, when they were looking for, you know, signs of ADHD, it was really controversial at the time, and in fact, like, you know, it's now considered that, you know, it's probably overdiagnosed, you know, for, you know, relatively, you know, either normal childhood behavior, or, it was overdiagnosed, you know, or it was, you know, misdiagnosed, you know, when it should have been something else, like, like maybe the psychiatrist should have, like, had an eye out for, like, you know, signs of child abuse, or neglect, or whatever, or just otherwise, you know, like, you know, maltreatment, malnourishment, whatever. And when I say malnourishment, I don't necessarily mean, like, you know, not feeding kids properly, you know, like, not feeding kids enough. I mean, just, like, not feeding them properly. Like, tiny bodies are hypersensitive to caffeine, so, you know, if you put, like, that's why people were going on Britney Spears about putting Mountain Dew in a baby bottle, because that will mess a kid up. So this is, melatonin. Can we get that? Yes. So, you know, when I was in school, you know, they were just like, oh, you know, you're just the precocious little gifted kid who, you know, is just, like, bored in class all the time. And yeah, I was bored in class. And, you know, in some ways, you know, like, things just, like, you know, it just wasn't, you know, like, sometimes the subject matter was, you know, beneath my, you know, level of understanding. Okay, and this is another one that I take twice a day. This is, Bushbar, and this is also for anxiety. Oh, I need to get this refilled soon. So, is that all of them? That is all of them. Hooray! But at the same time, it's like, you know, I was clearly not paying attention to things that, you know, I should have, even though I knew I should have. It was a tiny Catholic school. Like, we're talking, like, you know, 10, 12 kids a class. So, in many ways, oh god, I need to get that refilled very fast. So, in many ways, that's, like, you know, a really great situation. Like, you know, each kid, you know, gets the attention they need. And in my case, that meant that, you know, the teachers would, you know, find ways to, you know, sort of rechannel my attention into something that, you know, they knew would, you know, keep me either, you know, like, keep me focused on what I needed to do, or if I was clear that I couldn't be, you know, focusing, they would, oh crap, where's the one? No, so, you know, if it was clear that they were not going to get my focus back in a timely manner, you know, they would, you know, do things like send me to the library to, you know, or send me on some little task, or, you know, oh, like, you know, or like, oh, you've already read this book for class, so you can just, like, go off into, you know, the corner of the class and, you know, like, draw and paint, or you can go to the music room and, you know, like, practice your, you know, your voice exercises, or your viola, you know, when I got older and picked that up, and so that you're not distracting anybody else with, you know, or you can, like, you know, or here, you know, like, here's all your books, you can go into, you know, and read those, since it's clear that, you know, you are done, you know, that you know, don't have, you know, the things that you, and so, so that was, you know, so that was something that, but in, you know, so like when I was in school, it was really, you know, I got along like fairly well until I hit public school. Until I hit public school in 7th grade, where they just, like, you know, they didn't have the time, and they, and plus, like, I was going through some, you know, serious emotional issues. Like, you know, my mother had lost custody because later in life lesbian in 1991, 92. You know, this was not something that, you know, you let, you know, children be around back then. So, you know, and in many ways I was closer to my mother than I was to my father. So that did not go over well with me. So I was having some emotional issues. And plus, like, you know, like, suddenly I was no longer, you know, like, being in a public school in rural Michigan, you know, which is, like, one of the worst, you know, places to be at in a public, you know, to be a public school in, honestly, in my opinion, anyway. You know, they have, because there's no resources, especially in the early 90s, like, you know, there was, like, no resources on, like, okay, what do we do with the weird kid? So, you know, they, so they had no plan for, you know, a kid with, you know, clearly inattentive ADHD, and, you know, yeah, like, the extent of my hyperactivity is, like, is fidgeting, you know, I've picked up a lot of, I call them nervous habits, because, you know, it can be, like, you know, it does have the added bonus of, like, having a calming effect, but, you know, it's just something that I do to occupy, my hands, and, you know, so that I'm not being obnoxious to everyone around me. And, you know, oh god, yeah, I've got 2 of the fidget cubes, and I actually picked up a fidget spinner, either late last year or early this year. I was really, like, I thought that they were stupid, but I was just like, okay, it's on the clearance rack for $1, and it's a really, maybe it was like $4, because it's a really nice metal one that's got a good weight to it, and I like it, and it does make a little bit of a noise, so I don't get it out too much when I'm, you know, out, doing things where I should be a little bit quieter. The cube has some more quieter aspects to it. That makes a little bit of a pop, but this is nice. So I actually like this one, even though this one is a little bit easier on my hand just due to the size, but this does things that I like better. So yeah, like, this one is, like, you know, it's bigger, so it's a little easier on my carpal tunnel syndrome, but this one, it's got, you know, it's this little fucking ball here. I love that little ball. So yeah, but yeah, like, the extent of, like, my hyperactivity, you know, it's not what the, you know, like, even when I was a little kid, it was not what, you know, like, people would consider, like, hyperactive little kid stuff. You know, I just, like, you know, it wasn't a matter of, like, not being able to keep my hands to myself, you know, and, like, messing with the other kids. It was a matter of, you know, not being able to, you know, like, you know, sit quietly and rest, you know, my hands even when it was in my best interest to do so. That's always been, difficult for me. So, I actually am, hoping that the Adderall is effective at helping me focus, because I have, he's more like a friend of a friend initially. We seem to be getting a little bit more friendly, but he's running a small press label. He's done a couple of very small runs of on 45 and 10 inch of a couple Ross Williams things, and he's actually interested in like he discovered like we'd been talking on Instagram for a while, just through the Ross Williams tags, because so he's just just noticed that, oh wait, he's got a Bandcamp, so he checked out some of my music, and so that would be really great. I'm really hoping that this can help me actually focus my energy more toward music, because my music, because I'm really hoping that this is something that will help me actually be productive. It's been really hard for me, especially this last 10 years, getting anything done musically, creatively. It's really not mood-wise either. It's not usually my mood. It's not often my mood. Sometimes it is my mood. Sometimes it's just I start doing something and then I forget what I'm doing, and I end up doing 10 different things over the course of 2 days, and then I remember what I was doing, but then it's either the theremin has to go back to the library, or I lost the lyrics that I wrote. I wrote a song for my friend Cinnamon after she died, and I lost the lyrics for months. I lost the lyrics for months, mind, and that's there was 4 days I couldn't find my watch. I ended up ordering another one just like it, and then 2 days after that, but thankfully before the eBay seller shipped it out, I did find my watch, and just requested a refund, clicked ordered by accident, which is technically true, and I explained in the little text box that you're given that basically I lost my other one and then I found it. So oh dear, we're getting almost half an hour here, so I think I've rambled on enough. Hopefully this is something that you might have gotten something out of. If so, subscribe, tell your friends. I'm also running Patreon. I've got all the social media handles down in the description box. It's generally Ruadhán 1334 on on everything listed. It should be Ruadhán 1334. I haven't used Tumblr in months. I've come to the conclusion that Tumblr is like 4chan for young women and pseudo-intellectual queer theorists. And, if you think about it, that's really not too far from the truth. It's a complete free-for-all. The only thing that will get you genuinely kicked off of Tumblr is actual child porn. And, you see the absolute worst in humanity come out on this site. But for the most part, it's, you know, young women and pseudo-intellectual queer theorists. So, alright, past the half-hour mark. Take care, sweethearts, and I love you, and bats and kisses, and take care, and goodbye.